as Tyler moves on to his next stage of life, I'm actually going to be the acting president for this meeting because next meeting is going to be next year. I'm going to be the president of Toastmasters. So I just want to welcome you all to the last meeting of this year. Thanks for coming out. I know finals are hectic and projects. This is like the week before finals, right? So I know you have a bunch of tests, studying, projects, essays, everything that needs to be done. So I'm glad that you came out. But I need to move on to the meeting. So I'm transitioning from president to Toastmaster. Trust me, it's as confusing as I think it is. So, as Toastmaster, I'm going to ask the 3 evaluators who are going to evaluate throughout the meeting, the timer, grammarian, and odd counter, to explain their roles. Now, Ador is kind of hoarse with his voice and is struggling to speak, so I'm going to explain his role, and then I will call up the grammarian and the odd counter. So, during the entire portion of the meeting, all speeches and table topics and evaluations will be timed. When you reach your minimum time, Ador will raise the green sign like he is right now. And then, in the median time, he'll change it to yellow. And finally, when you reach the last minute of your time range, he'll raise red. After red, you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. And in that time, that's your grace period. So after that, if you complete your time in the 30 seconds, you'll be counted towards the vote at the end for best evaluator, best speaker, best table topics. And now to explain the role of grammarian, can we have Ejin explain?
So as the role for grammarian, I basically will be keeping track of all grammar mistakes, such as run-on sentence, subject-verb agreement, and I will also be keeping track of if you use the word of the day, which there's no marker to write up there, but it's reminisce, which means to go over in one's memory. Okay, that's it. Oh, there's a marker right there.
Oh, thanks, Ejin. Finally, to explain the role of odd counter, can we, I was about to say welcome Slade to the stage. Never mind, just explain from there.
So I'm the odd counter. The odd counter counts all your any filler word, non-transitional so's, anything like that that's unnecessary, you didn't mean to say really, and just so you can improve and lessen those.
Thank you. Alright, so those 3 roles are going to be continuing out throughout the entire meeting. Unfortunately, FR's evaluator isn't here. He's running a little bit late, so we're actually going to move on to speaker number 2 so that we can end on time. So with his speech from the professional speaker manual, the speech entitled "The Importance and Art of Self-Selling," please welcome Tyler to the stage.
Okay, you guys are going to have to bear with me because I caught whatever he had last week at the speech dog. I am still recovering. I almost thought I was going to die on Friday. Can the odd counter do me a personal favor? And every time I look at the screen more than twice, write that as an ah, or just let me know privately afterwards if it's that. That's been one of my ahs of using the projector. So, like I said, bear with me. I'm going to try to be as enthusiastic as I possibly can. My name is Tyler Burnette, and I'm here to teach you the art of selling. The key factors in being a professional salesman. That's one. Professionalism. Seems kind of redundant. 2, punctuality. 3, confidence, clarity of speech, and enthusiasm. Professionalism, and I'm going to cheat on this one because this is a long list. And I'm going to run down appearance, demeanor, reliability, competence, ethics, maintaining your poise, phone etiquette, and written correspondence. To me, you can look up professionalism as a definition in a dictionary. But to me, professionalism is something you embody, not just when you come up here to speak, but also when you speak to other people, how you speak to other people. So your appearance. I'm going to be critiquing my own appearance because I know I am not to the upper echelon of appearance that I should be for this kind of speech, but because I've been sick and have been busy with finals, as Zack duly noted, I was unable to prepare how I wanted to. So my appearance right now is not professional. My hair is a little unkempt. It's not trimmed like it should be. My collar's buttoned a little bit too low. Having been a little bit too much of a party up here. Okay. All right. When you're professional, you're nice, neat, you're crisp, you're well put together. There's no wrinkles anywhere. There's no stains. Your shoes are nice and clean. And someone can look you up and down and be like, that guy is well put together. That is what I mean by appearance. Your demeanor. Your demeanor is about your confidence, how you come into a room, how you speak to somebody. I can come up to somebody and say, wow, you really didn't look put together today. And that is my demeanor to that person. And you can come across as that kind of person. Or I can say, hey, how are you doing today? Or are you having a rough day? You don't look, see, this is where I get into the weeds because I need to work on it because I'm a very straightforward person. I'm not saying I have all of these, but what I'm saying is to look professional, you need to have all of these. You need to be reliable. You need to be confident. Your ethics need to be on par with what you believe. You need to maintain your poise. Your poise is how you position yourself in your room. Do you cower behind the desk over here and use this as a shield? Or do you allow yourself to be in the middle of the room where everybody can see you? And you know you're getting judged, but it's okay because you're confident in how your body language is and how you're positioned in the room. Phone etiquette and written correspondence. These are also very important that I think a lot of people overlook, especially when you're writing thank you notes, which is what you should do, especially if you're getting recommendation letters for graduate schools or for business. Writing thank you notes, people remember those. I have my chemistry professor still remembers to this day. I can email him and just send in probably half of my last name, and he knows exactly who I am because I sent him. Not only was I a good student, but I also sent him a very, very well thought out thank you note in very professional looking stationery to him. And he's going to remember that, and he's going to remember that when graduate students, a year or 2 years from now, or graduate schools, a year or 2 years from now, send him letters. Okay? So, your phone etiquette and written correspondence are very important. Like I said, punctuality. Punctuality, time is money. Okay? Time is my money. Time is Tyler's money. Time is Aner's money. Time is everybody's money. It's something you can't get back. I can buy a new car if I wreck it. I can get a new girlfriend if we disagree on a few things. But I can't get time back. Nobody can get time back. So punctuality is key in professionalism. Confidence. Confidence inside a room. It's very important. You can fake confidence and come across with a sale. It's very easy. And it's really all in your choice. Sure, there are some things that come across like, I know I was giving a speech, and I'm going to borrow this. I was giving a speech, and it was on gun control, and I knew I was in a crowd of people that very much disagreed with my opinion. And my evaluator, I'll never forget this, Zack, he said, "You were looking confident until you picked up that piece of paper." And you could see I was like this. Now, I was very well versed on my side, and I was confident enough, but just not confident enough giving a speech about it. But because I was able to fake it for most of the speech, most people didn't notice, or at least that was my impression. So yes, you can choose, as this sign dictates, you can either choose the confidence or you can choose the doubt. Fake it till you make it kind of deal. Your clarity of speech. Now obviously right now, my clarity is a little bit diminished, but that is not my fault. Come on in. No, it's okay. Close the door. You're already in now. Come on, man. Have a seat. Have a seat. Enjoy the speech. So clarity of speech. Very important. People need to understand what you're saying. Now, if you talk like this, in a very southern accent, that's not always too clear. Or if you talk in a Boston accent, now, if you're from Boston, I'm so sorry. You park the car in the carport, they may not always understand what you're saying, so you have to try to, if you have a southern or Boston accent, try to dial it down a little bit for professionalism's sake. Enthusiasm, I like this. Zack helped me pick this one out. And it perfectly embodies what I mean by enthusiasm. Because there's going to be days, I used to sell tires, okay? That was my first job outside high school. I didn't go straight to college. I did rodeo, I sold tires. That's what I did. And there were days I was not happy about selling tires. I did not want to sell tires. Many of those days I was probably a little hungover from the party the night before, but I was still enthusiastic about it. And that enthusiasm, it gets people charged up. People want to, they want to be charged up about what they're buying. If you come in there, even if you're sick, you're just, well, you know, I'm just gonna sell some tires today, I guess. You know, nobody wants to buy from somebody like that. Nobody. So be enthusiastic. Even if you are unfortunately depressed, which is a very serious mental health concern, I am not looking down upon that at all. Here we go. Steps to the sale. Find out what the prospect needs, gain the confidence of the prospect, sell the solution. It's very important. Anticipate objections and make the close. Find out what the prospect needs. Now, as you can see in this, it basically outlines how a major business can have varying levels of understanding of exactly what the prospect, quote unquote, needs. Okay? And so it's very important through communication that you find out exactly what the prospect needs. What is their problem? Because you are a problem solver. As someone who is selling something, you are a problem solver. Information, information, information. I cannot relate to you enough how important information is. Information is key in any buying situation, or buying or selling situation. Okay? Because the more information you have, the more of that you can use to solve the prospect's problems. And the more you know about the prospect, the more you can fully understand what the prospect needs. Now, the Toastmasters manual that I have, it gave me an example to use in the speech. Now, say you are a lawn and garden salesman. Okay? You have a customer. Customer walks in. Well, hey, sir, how are you doing today? Customer says, I'm doing all right. I need a weed eater. It's like, okay. Now, how big is your yard that you need to use? Well, sir, I got a pretty big yard. It's about 2 acres. Okay. Well, now we have these electric weed eaters. I think you came in here last week looking for them too. You had a certain kind of budget. I remember you coming in here. Now, in that budget, the electric weed eater is within it. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you buy the electric weed eater, you're going to also have to buy a lot of extension cord to go with it. What I can offer you, though, for a slightly higher price, about $10, $15, you could buy the gas one and not have to worry about the electric weed eater or the extension cables. Well, that's a good idea, but what about all the other problems? Like, how am I going to maintain it? Well, sir, small engine motors are actually very easily maintained. You don't have to do a lot of maintenance on them. They just go, pretty much. Well, thank you. I think I'll take the gas mower. Now, not the mower, the weed eater. Now, that is a very simplified version of a transaction. But through me understanding what the prospect actually needs, yes, he needs the weed eater. But had I not asked the questions for the additional information, I probably would have given him, maybe something the programmer wrote. Okay? And he would not have been able to use that, or to the effectiveness he desired. So through gaining information, you clarify the problems and their causes, and you discover how the seller solution can solve these problems. Now through this back and forth with the prospect, and this can be if you're selling lawn and garden equipment, or this can be business-to-business sales, like between Google and Apple, okay? Because as my dad always says, business is done from people to people, not business to business. So you're always going to deal with a person. Doesn't matter what level of business you run through. So, gaining the confidence of the prospect. You have to gain their confidence. Nobody's going to want to buy anything from you if they're not confident in what you're selling. So how do you do that? How do you gain anybody's trust, right? You get to know them, they get to know you, and you show them that you're not a used car salesman kind of salesman. And everybody knows exactly what those kind of salesmen are like. And by always probing for information, be continually interested in the other person and not necessarily your own selfish interest. You build trust with someone. And also through repeated sales, you build trust with that person. I built trust with the people that I sold tires to. And because of that, they were return customers. And they were return trusted customers. They trusted me, and they would sometimes even ask for me specifically, or they'd ask for other techs that they've dealt with. People always want to do business with people they know. And this probing of information, of course, I'm not going to ask or know what his social security number is. That's a little bit too much. A lot too much, actually. If you're dealing with somebody that's asking you that, you need to click out of whatever website you're going to or whatever, or hang up the phone. But it takes months, if not years, to master the balance of not overreaching or not underreaching and finding the perfect balance of, well, what is the right amount of information to ask? Selling a solution. The book also told me to give you guys this. Drama. Demonstrate, recommend, arithmetic, measure, and assure. So demonstration. You want to demonstrate your product, whatever it is. Okay? Right now, I have demonstrated to you that these rules and these guidelines for selling, they work because I've told you. I've told you of my own stories. I've told you of examples from my father's life, how they all work. Demonstration. You can give a recommendation, especially if you're the leading head of anything in a field, right? If you have a PhD in biochemistry, don't you think you can recommend a few pharmaceuticals for metabolism? Yeah, I think so. Your arithmetic. Arithmetic, it's a weird word. I would more like to say semantics. There's certain words you don't say when you're selling a product. Okay? These words are like buy or sell or anything like that. You want to say investment. It's an investment. Everything that you sell is an investment for the prospect. And you're not lying by saying that, and you're not misguiding them by saying that. None of this stuff that I'm giving you right now is in any way misguiding. It's just word association. Because people, for whatever reason, they see, oh, well, he just wants me to buy something. It's like, no. When I say I want you to invest in this, it's I want you to grow from this. Okay? Measure and assure. Obviously, measure is showing them that, yes, this works. Yes, we can measure it. Yes, here you go. Here are the facts. And assurance is the final step. You need to assure that they're not making a mistake. When someone buys something, and I'm sure I'm this way. I don't know about you all. But when somebody buys something, they want to make sure they're not making a mistake. It's not necessarily the loss of money. We can get that back. It's not necessarily the fact that, oh, well, you know, I bought a car that I didn't need. I can sell the car. What they don't like is they don't like making a mistake in a purchase. And that's the important thing. The prospect doesn't want to make a mistake. So you need to assure them that what they're buying from you is not a mistake. Anticipate objections. Now, aside from the first couple of dates you have with your girlfriend, you know, no does not necessarily mean no in sales. No actually means no actually, and what I mean by no, I mean an objection. They say let's go back to lawn and garden. They say, well, Tyler, you know, well, hold about this, you know. Those gas prices, man, those gas prices are way up. You know, they're giving me an objection to what I'm selling. Now, an objection is just meaning that they're actually one step closer to the sale. They're ready to go for the sale. It's just they have this one thing that once you remove that roadblock, they're ready to go. Okay? That's why you see the yes within all the no's. They have all these objections, and once you remove the objections, they have really no reason not to say no. And they're like, okay, yeah. Now, of course, this doesn't happen all the time. Some people, they really just do want to say no. But that objection, like I said, doesn't always mean a flat-out no. So in this case, he would say, well, what about those gas prices? I don't want to spend gas. You know, electricity's cheaper. And you come over here and say, well, sir, this weed eater has a very small gas tank. It would cost you $5 to fill up once a month. Something along those lines. And so see, now I have removed the objection. And so now he is free to still make the decision, but he's more than likely more free to make the decision leaning towards making the purchase. And if you haven't been here for some of my other talks on sales, I know these are extremely boring, and my monotone voice doesn't help. But the object is to inch the consumer closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to the actual of saying yes and purchasing the product as you can. And knowledge of the product is key. It's always key because you can take away those objections. Make the close. Comparison, loss, opinion, story, and example. Now, the book also told me to do this, but I am running out of time, so I'm going to skip ahead and do the takeaway. And this is my personal takeaway from sales. Never lie to the consumer, never sell the consumer something they do not need. Always carry yourself with integrity. Smile. Everybody loves a smile. Nobody buys anything from somebody who doesn't smile. Communicate effectively with sincerity in the prospect, and you have set principles to operate by. Thank you.
So while Tyler's wrapping up his PowerPoint, please take about 30 seconds to give an evaluation on his performance. Please welcome FR with his speech titled How to Lie Like a Pro.
Okay, how's everyone doing?
Good.
Some of you just lied right now. Unknowingly, because not everybody is actually doing good right now. And to show you that how everyone lies, I did that. I'm going to show another example. I want you to tell the neighbor next to you your name. You have 10 seconds. Go ahead.
My name is Osman. Hey, small world. Where are you from? From Johns Creek.
Okay, that's 10 seconds. Now that you said your name, tell the neighbor next to you a false name.
My name is John. John. Yeah, hi. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Where are you from? From Johns Creek.
What a lot of you did not notice is that when you gave a fake name, it took longer for you to respond. I was actually checking. I noticed Tyler and Honor took a few seconds longer, but that shows two things. It shows that humans don't naturally lie. It's not normal. It's something you have to work towards. And before I go into explaining how to lie like a pro, you need to know certain things about lying specifically. What are some telltale signs that give it away? First thing first. You want to say something? No, not yet. No, we're not there yet. Okay. First thing first, when you're lying, you can tell a person's lying because they start talking faster. You always want to notice that. A person who's calm and has a good demeanor, they will usually are saying the truth, right? But what you have to also notice is that when a person is an experienced liar, they're used to this. They know how to do certain behaviors and how to include vocal variety. That's another thing. A big thing about liars is that they become very monotone. They try to reduce all emotion so you can't figure out what's going on. They'll become still. They'll reduce any effort to make it seem like they're being, how do I put it, very into it. They'll try to distance themselves. Another thing about liars that's very common. They have telltale signs on their face. You can't tell a person's lying by what they're saying, but of how they react. So a few physical signs is that there's these three muscle groups over here, right above your eyes. If you act surprised. You see these muscles over here that move right above your eyebrows? It's called the Salewala oris. That muscle right there is only activated when you're in actual scenarios of honesty. And when you're lying, these upper muscles don't move. So a good way to tell a person's lying is you can see their facial expressions, but the expression does not reach the eye. Another very good fact about lying is that a lot of people smile when they lie. They try to distract the person. They're like, oh, they're smiling. They're being honest. And you don't really realize what's going on. To give you some stats about this, an average person in a conversation with someone they don't know, approximately for 10 minutes, right, they'll talk 30% of the time will be a lie. The average person with someone you don't know. And now that makes sense. It's because you don't know them, so you don't trust them. You don't want to give them all your information. But with people you do know, on an average weekly basis, with people you know very close, you'll approximately lie 11 times. That means every day you lie around once to twice. To people you know, to people you care about. Now, there are reasons why people lie, but different people lie for different reasons. And that's not what we're learning. We're learning how to lie properly. So, first thing you want to know when you're lying, change your body posture. A person who is lying becomes less confident, they slouch more, and they try to shield themselves. So the way you shield yourself physically is you turn your palms towards yourself. It's an unconscious body response. People that lie more often have their palms facing inward. A more honest person will have their palms a bit more outwards, and it'll point to someone other than themselves. biggest thing. Always be confident. If you talk to someone and you're hesitant about your story, about your tale, they'll see that as a lack of honesty straight away, because not being confident in what you're saying is a telltale of like you're lying. Third step, make sure you control your heart rate. When your heart rate goes up, two things happen. And a lot of people think that it's hard to control your heart rate. It's actually really easy. Just take simple, deep breaths and keep your demeanor constant. When your heart rate goes up, you do two things. You speak faster, and your body becomes more panicked. You'll notice that when a liar is lying, the voice goes up and their eyes start wandering more often. That's the biggest sign. So to do that, in a regular conversation, make sure you take one breath for every 4 to 5 words. This shouldn't be too bad. Right? Okay. Next, after you've done all that, make sure when you're talking, you include details. Like a good liar will know how to keep enough detail in to make the story seem real. For example, I can say I was at a park yesterday when I could have been at downtown. But if someone asked me and I say this, but instead of saying I was at the park, I was at Greensboro Park in Athens at 12:30 last night because I saw a wild animal and I was chasing it. I'd be like, whoa, that sounds like a cool story, even though it's completely made up. So detail is one thing you definitely want to always include while lying. Now, moreover, after you do this, a lot of people know that liars break eye contact. You do not want to break eye contact, because you all are good liars. But you do not want to keep eye contact for too long. It's because that is a sign that you are lying, and because you know you're lying, you're trying to specifically focus on not breaking eye contact. But if the other person is good at lying, they will know that you are intentionally not breaking eye contact. So try to seem realistic. Going on with this, when you're lying, believe it with such intensity that you believe it's reality. A smart guy, I think it was George William something. He said, here, listen. So he said, when you lie, make it such a reality that everybody around you comes to believe it. With that, I would like to play a game with you guys. Have you all of you heard of 2 truths and a lie? Now, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do 2 lies and a truth. You guys have to figure out the truth. Based on the techniques I tell you, use those techniques to see what I'm telling you the truth about and what I'm lying about. Okay? So, okay. Yesterday night, around 9:45, I was sitting on my futon, and you know how people get calluses when they work out or they do monkey bars. So I noticed I had a callus on my thumb from writing on a pencil. And I was really aggravated, so I took a knife and I was like, and I cut it. But then I cut it too deep. So I cut my thumb as well, which is not good. That's why I have a Band-Aid on. Number 2, April 17th. I'm not sure what the year is. I'm young. I'm climbing a tree. Okay. I'm climbing a tree because climbing trees are fun. It's in my front yard. It's an oak tree. I climb it. I'm on like halfway up, and then I see my siblings, and I'm like trying to act awesome. So I jump off, and I don't land properly. I land on my feet and my arms, and end up breaking my arm, which is why my arm is forever curved on my right hand. I broke 1 bone and got 2 fractures in here. Number 3, 3 years ago, at around 12 p.m., all my family lives in the same neighborhood. I was going from one house to another house. I can't remember why, but I was going to visit them. I'm on one side of the sidewalk. I'm on this side, okay? I'm over here. I saw an animal. I was looking at it, and then I'm crossing to the other side. A car is like coming 40 miles an hour in a neighborhood, and 25 is the speed limit for a neighborhood. Just saying. But it almost hits me, and I'm like, whoa! And I jump back. Okay. What do you think is lie, and what do you think is truth? Number 1, raise your hand. Number 2.
Is this what we think is the truth?
This is what do you think is the truth?
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2. Number 3.
Wait. They're all lies.
Okay. Whoever put your hand up for number 1, you were actually correct. That was the one truth. Thank you. I wish you all good luck in your adventures of bending the truth.
Bruh.
Thank you, FR. To go on to the next speaker, speaker number 3 is going to be Tyler Chan. He's going to be speaking on a speech called How Did I Get Here? Please welcome Tyler Chan to the stage.
All right. In 18 days from today, I will be graduating. After 4 years, I am going to be graduating with an MIS degree with an emphasis in information security. And now, I have already accepted a full-time offer for a consulting job at Varghese. I'm going to be finishing my president's term at UGA Toastmasters. It's all looking good. It's all looking like I'm becoming one of those people that going to college kind of worked out for them. So this past semester, some people have come up to me and asked, what have you been doing to get to where you are now? How are you here? So this is what I tell them. We have to go back to the very beginning though, right when I graduated from Chattahoochee High School. I graduated with a 3.1 GPA. I got kicked off the honor roll during my last semester. I failed 3 AP exams. I didn't even graduate in the top 25th percentile of my graduating class. I got into UGA as an agricultural education major with the goal to become the best wheat farmer in New York City. That's not even a lie, it's true. I wanted to become the best urban wheat farmer in New York and revolutionize the industry. But all that kind of changed once I came to UGA during freshman year orientation. I met with my freshman advisor, and he told me all the classes I have to take. I have to take OChem, I have to take physics, I have to take calc. And I was thinking, all right, high school is very fresh in my head right now. All those AP exams I failed were all math related. So calc, stat, physics, I was like, all right, I can't make the same mistake twice. So in that moment, the dream died. The dream of being the best wheat farmer in New York died, and I had to switch. And I thought in that moment, what could I switch to? What could I possibly do now? And that's when I also thought, there's this one major that I've been thinking of that people have been telling me about called MIS. I've been hearing about from friends from high school and tutors I had. No one knows what they do. No one knows what kind of jobs they can go into. But I thought, you know what? Why not? Why not let it fly? So I just switched it on the spot, and now I'm an MIS major. Going into freshman year, I had no idea what I was doing. If you asked me as a freshman what MIS does, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So on the spot, I had to know, what can I do to learn everything there is to know about business and MIS? Because I thought I was going to be a farmer this whole time. So in order to learn everything about business and MIS, I was thinking, all right, I should probably join some business clubs and organizations. So that's what I did. I tried to join certain organizations like MBSA, Multicultural Business Student Association, and ASA, just to learn everyone else that are in these majors. But one day when I was procrastinating on what other organizations I could join, I was on Facebook, because that's what we used to use back in the day. And I was scrolling through my home timeline, and then I looked at one of the pictures my friend Adam Kunis posted. He was at a Toastmasters meeting. I was thinking, oh, I haven't seen Adam in a while. He's here at UGA. Good friend since middle school. He's a fun guy. And I thought, Toastmasters seems pretty interesting. I like food. I'll just join him for the next meeting. I joined him for the next meeting, and the rest is history. But within a month of me joining at the club, there was only 7 of us there. And the old president, Alex Matthews, he came up to me at the end of one meeting. And he says, Tyler, there's only 7 of us. Would you like to be the VP of PR? I was thinking, all right. I literally just got out of high school. I had no leadership experience. I have no experience in anything PR. I think I'd be a very poor candidate. I won't say the other word, but I don't think I'd be the best candidate for the position. And he said, Tyler, there's certain times you just got to take these opportunities. Even if you're not ready for them, I think you have what it takes to do it. And after 5 minutes, I was like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. I already switched majors. Let's just see what happens if I take this opportunity. And within the year I was there, we jumped from 7 members to 20 members. And we became an officially chartered club, which means UGA Toastmasters became an officially recognized club at Toastmasters International. So during freshman year, a lot happened. A lot I wasn't expecting. I was like, what can possibly go from here? Then comes sophomore year. When you're a Terry major, your goal is just to find an internship in anything. And usually as a Terry major, whether you're econ, accounting, MIS, finance, they like to push you into consulting. I don't know why. It's like a lot of high-paying jobs, but they like to push everyone into consulting to the point where no one really knows what else they can do. So during the entirety of sophomore year, I was just applying to as many internships as I could. Anything that had data in it, technology in it, analytics in it, everything. I applied to over 50 companies through UGA Handshake and their individual company websites. I didn't hear back from anyone. I even had to keep applying as summer began. And eventually, one Friday morning at 10 a.m., I get woken up from a call, and I just go, hello. I hear on the other side of the line, hello, this is Lane Johnson from Scientific Games. I'd like to go over your resume for the procurement analyst internship position. Is this right now a good time to talk? In that moment, I had no idea what Scientific Games was or what a procurement analyst does. So I said, excuse me, I am preoccupied at the moment, but in 2 hours I'll be available. Are you available then? He said yes. So I hung up, Googled everything there is to know about what Scientific Games is and what a procurement analyst does. And within 2 hours, I called back and said, all right, I'm free now. How's it going? And then went through the whole phone interview, went well, and then got a second round interview in person the following week. This is when I told them, all right, I know this internship is for the purchasing department of a lottery firm, basically, from the research I've done. And I've been looking into more consulting internships and those kind of jobs instead. And they said, we can't offer you that, but we can offer you something where a consultant will eventually look at if you were consulting, because when you're consulting, you look at everything. So I was like, fair enough. And eventually, they offered me the position. I joined the next week. So within 2 weeks, went from internship, or the interview into the internship. And I had no idea what procurement was still until I started working there. And to give you a perspective of what my work environment looked like, I was the youngest person in my department. I was the first intern in my department. I was also the only one without a kid in my department. So every time small talk pulled up, it was a little awkward, but it's okay. At the very end of the internship, I applied for and got the opportunity to go to the Protivity Summer Leadership Conference. Basically what this is you get to go to their office and you get to learn all about the company and also interview for a summer internship position for the following summer. So I got the opportunity to go at the very end of the internship, took a day off, and then I went to their office in Buckhead and learned everything there is to know about Protivity. And then it had 2 interviews. One that was a behavioral interview, which is to get to know what kind of person you are, and then a case interview. Now, a case interview could be anything. It could be any business problem. It can be about cybersecurity, it can be about data analytics, or it can be about a business process. Luckily, the case interview I was given was a business process about procurement. And I was thinking, all right, what are the chances that all of a sudden I was giving this case interview to get an internship that I actually did want from being in an internship about the case? So I was able to give a lot of deep insights about this case that a lot of other applicants weren't able to give. And then 2 weeks later, my Scientific Games internship ended, and then I got an offer for Protivity. And now I'll be working there full time, so it all comes around full circle. It's kind of weird how it all works out, from switching majors just on the spot that day of, and then all of a sudden taking an opportunity to be a VP of PR with no background experience in anything, and then taking an internship in a job and in a field that I didn't even know existed. All these became stepping stones to where I eventually wanted to be. So now, here I am. Finally, my last speech at UGA Toastmasters, and I'm still wondering to myself, how did I get here? I still don't know. What I do know is that opportunities, they don't come to you. You have to go find them. But when you do eventually find them, whether you're ready or not, never let them go and follow through with them, because you never know where you might end up. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler, for your final speech at Toastmasters. I know it's a sad time for all of us, but please spend the next 30 seconds evaluating Tyler. So please welcome Nadia with her speech entitled Exotic.
Silence. I answered with silence. What else could I have answered to a statement so abhorrent? Nadia, you're so sweet and kind and well-mannered. I forget that you're half black. It must be the white in you. Even just recalling that makes me emotional, because a middle-aged woman, a mother, and my teacher thought that that was okay. She thought that just because a black girl challenged her worldview so much, she must attribute my traits to whiteness. Any good trait I have. And I know as an ethnically ambiguous girl, or as a mixed person, that my traits will be demarcated. That the things I say and the way I act, they will be attributed to one or another thing. I am strongly opinionated, that means I'm black. I am kind and polite, that must be white. These are things I can't change for myself. It is preconceived notions that I just can't change. If I'm rude and obnoxious, that must be the black in me. Looking ethnically ambiguous it's an open invitation to hear the dreaded question that anyone of any ethnicity so often hears. What are you? What are you? As if you're some kind of exotic flower to peer at behind thick glass. As if you're some kind of animal to see in a zoo exhibit. That's not what I am. Do not ask me that question, because I am not just one or two things. I am not a boxed check. I am not just black. I am not just white. I am black, I am Iranian, I am Azerbaijani. When I applied for college, when I went through college admissions as a high school senior, I was told time and time again by my peers that my academic rigor, that all the hard work I put into my classes and my SAT scores, that just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm black, so I'll get in. They asked me, did you put black on your acceptance? Did you put black when you applied? Yes, I did, because I am. And just because I am light-skinned does not mean that I am going to lessen who I am as a person. I am not going to forget the cultures and the history of my people. That's not something I'm willing to do. And the fact of the matter is that I do have privileges because I am light-skinned, because I am ethnically ambiguous, and you look at me and you could be like, sure, she's white passing. Maybe she's got a little Hispanic in her or something. She's white and something else. I don't know. And because that is afforded to me, yes, I don't have to walk into a store, and I am not labeled as a thief by the manager. I am not followed around by sales associates. I am not at risk to be shot by police officers more than my dark-skinned fellow brothers and sisters. It's just fact. And when this middle-aged woman told me this, you best believe I immediately texted my mom. I was like, come pick me up. Come pick me up. I cannot stand to be here any longer. Her food is bland and I just don't like it. I need to go. And the thing is, we all have preconceived notions about race and what someone looks like and what that means for them. And the only way to fix that, to unlearn these notions, is to first learn where they come from. I know a lot of white people do not like to be called cracker, and trust me, I wouldn't be called cracker either. A lot of you might think, oh, it's because white people are pale and pasty like crackers. No, it is from the crack of the whip. They are crackers. I know a lot of you have heard that black people like watermelon. Why do they like watermelon? Well, when they were slaves, and you worked on a plantation, there were sometimes you were afforded a small farm of your own, and you didn't really have much time to tend it. So you would plant a watermelon because all it needs to grow is water. You don't need to tend to that plant. So black people, they eat watermelon. It's what they can grow in their own time. Black people, they like fried food. They like fried chicken. I mean, who doesn't? Right? But why? It's because they got chitlins. They got the intestines of the meat that the slave owners didn't want. And how do you make pig and cow intestines taste good? You fry it up. You add some seasoning. That's how you do it. That's how you do it in the South. There's myths and stereotypes about black people can't swim. Why can't black people swim? Have you ever thought to yourself, where did this stereotype come from? I'll tell you, it's de facto racism, de facto segregation. Back when there were Jim Crow laws, black people could only live in certain spots, in certain cities. They were only allowed in certain neighborhoods. And once those laws were no longer law, and it became illegal to segregate people in that way, that doesn't change the fact that black people are of a lower socioeconomic status because white people put them there. Those in charge put them there. They couldn't move to richer areas. They couldn't move to places where they could go swim in safe reservoirs and pools. Up until the 1940s and the 1960s, most pools, most lakes, most public places, black people were not allowed to be there. Colored people were not allowed to go try swimming. These are just the facts that most people don't know about the basis of stereotypes that they have just heard and they've picked up. What about Kool-Aid? Black people like Kool-Aid? Well, that's just because Kool-Aid's good. All right? But we have to unlearn so many things for ourselves. Yes, I'm ethnically ambiguous. Yes, you look at me and you don't know exactly what race I am. But that does not mean I'm going to lessen any part of me. That does not mean I'm just a box to check. I answered with silence. I can't answer with silence again.
Thank you for that speech. I was wondering who could follow up Tyler's speech as the the president, and then you gave that one. Thank you for sharing your experience. Please take 30 seconds to evaluate that speech.